Hello again, and it's time for another project. Today, a nice simple members only plaque that we're going to route out on this rough fencing wood. Take 3 or 4 minutes to give it a nice sanding down, and it does come up really nice. And for what you pay for it, it's ideal for somebody that's just starting out with the routing side of things, and you just want some nice cheap wood to work on. And I've used this a lot on my projects, and it works fine for me. So we've got our template there, members only. It's literally 3 inches by 11 inches. We've stuck it down in place where we want it. And I like to use carbon paper underneath and literally just draw around it with a pen. That way the image will be transferred onto a piece of wood like so. And that's plenty for what we want today. Nice little simple fun project. Notice there, take your time, look around. Couple of knots there to move the template to fit, and we just missed that one there. And we also extended the framework on the end because we want to pop a screw in either end there, so we've made the framework, as we call it, just slightly bigger at either end. And that's it. On this one we're going to do outset lettering, which basically we're going to remove all the background. So take your time to pencil in the areas that we want to remove. You'll go away, come back and start removing out the centre of that O or the N, wherever we want that leaving. We want those letters to stand up. If they were inset, we'd obviously remove the inside of those letters, pop some paint on and sand over. But we're going to remove all the outside up to that framework, so we'll end up with a nice little frame around it, and all the background will be removed so those letters can stand up nicely. Remember, with any routing, you want to route up to the line on the outset, and if you're doing inset, up to the line on the inside. Never route on the line. By the time you've gone down there and down that one there with the router, even though they're 3.17 meters wide, depending on your depth, you would alter the inside of that lettering, should I say. So that gap would actually be wider, or either way. Okay, so we're going to remove all the outer bits, as you can see from that. And for that, I like to use my CNC bits. They come in different degrees. They come in a little box like so. They used to have different colours on, reds for 20s, blues for 30s. Now they all come with blue caps on, I believe. And this is a 20 degree and a 30 degree. And that's basically just the end of the cut, which you can more or less just about see from there. So that's a 20 degree. That's plenty for what we want today. They have a 3.175 shaft on. They will fit a Dremel if you have the router attachment for the Dremel. However, if you're using a 1/4 inch router, you need an adapter reducer collet, 6.35mm. And you'll actually slide your CNC bit into the end there. That's now got a 1/4 inch shaft, and that will fit your router no problem. The depth I like to use on mine, there is proper gauges you can purchase, depth gauges. I just made a piece of wood like that. That one's 3mm, that one's 4. I know that one's 3 because it's basically the same thickness as the CNC bit. And I use 3mm on most of my projects. So we'll pop that into the router, in our adapter collet, excuse me. We'll set it to 3mm and literally route out all these letters, remember, on the outside of the line. And then once we've done all that, we'll pop on a end milling bit. These are ideal for these little projects. And they've got the same shaft on as your end millimeter CNC bit, should I say. So just a simple case of moving that. Slide that up to there, up to that barrier. You can get these without the barrier, so don't be concerned. eBay or Amazon for me. If you can't find them with the barrier on, they're exactly the same piece. And then we'll set that to 3mm and basically remove all the outset. Tidy it up nicely with a flexor cable attached to a Dremel, and then we'll simply use a scroll saw. For me, you could have bandsaw, anything, a little scroll saw to cut it all out, and we'll put some paint on the back, paint the letters, and then basically we'll pop it on the gate. Okay, let's pop our CNC bit in, and we'll start routing this one out, if I can just find the right piece. Okay. Right, you can see from that we've gone all the way around with our CNC bits. Now, it doesn't matter if it's not perfect. Remember, we are going to go in and sand this down and give it a general tidy up. So little bits like there, look, where it's not on the line, up to the line, should I say. That don't matter to me. We'll soon sort that out once we go in with our end milling bits, remember. You'll notice on these tighter areas here where you go right into a point, obviously with a CNC bit, you're not going to get in there, no matter what bit you use, really. So what you need to do, should have probably shown you on the router, but the noise of the machine, you're not going to hear me talking. You know, it's a point there, and all I tend to do is, as I'm routing up to this tight section, we literally just raise the router up out of the wood. So you lift the full router away from the wood as you route forward. So you start off there, and as you get towards that point, you start lifting the bit out, and that'll hopefully take it to a nice point like that. And same again, just here. So you're routing as normal, and also you get to that point there, you've got that bit behind you. That's as far as you're going to go with that bit. So just raise it up. You can lift the full router bit up, and as you lift it up, carry on going forward, and you just come to a nice point there, and lift your router out completely, and then you're left with a nice point there, like so. Worth something remembering for next time. Right, so we've done all our lines. We've gone all the way around our framework like so. Another quick one, the lights of your lines here, I just did that freehand. My router does come with an adapter clamp, we'll call it, a micro thing that slides underneath, and it slides along your wood to give you a nice perfect line. I'm not too bothered about the way it looks. I'm just trying to look around for something now. Another option is, you've got a longer piece of wood like so, you could clamp there, get your router to fit in that gap like so, put your router where it wants to be, put your clamp on there, and use that piece of wood as a guide. A long piece similar to this, obviously. So you've got a clamp at one end, clamp at the other. Set up your pin, your router bit where you want to start there, clamp it down, move it over there, clamp it down, and then you can use that piece of wood as a guide, if that makes sense, and that will give you a nice straight line. I'm not overly concerned about straight lines. By the time we've gone around and tidied it up, been near enough for what we need. Right, so now we can remove our CNC bit. We'll get plenty more projects out of that one. And we'll pop in one of these end milling bits. Remember, there's different bits out there for different folk. You pick one that suits you, but I'm quite happy with these cheap eBay, Amazon specials. And we've got a nice one that we know fits in between your letters like so. We'll set it to that depth there. Or obviously we could use our piece of wood if we wanted to. So that's why we've removed that section. We set it to the same depth and basically start clearing all the backer on this one. It'll come out quite easy with these end milling bits. Okay, let's set it up and start clearing the background. Right, we've made it all the way around with those end milling bits. You can see from there, come out really clean. I do like those, and they're fairly cheap to purchase, but they do a great job for cleaning out with. And if you just look closely, we're talking before about the pencil line, you can just see the line still there. So we've just gone literally up to the line, all the way around the full piece. Remember that little nick we had there? We've disappeared that, or we've made that disappear, should I say, with the end milling bit. So don't be concerned if it's not perfect. Certainly it doesn't bother me. But we will get a nice little project at the end of this video. Now, I like to go around and just give it a nice little general tidy up. We'll have good old sandpaper just to get in there and straighten those edges up. And I also like to use a flexi cable, just a cheap eBay special. This is attached to the end of your Dremel or rotary tool. And it's just a lot easier for handling. And inside, we have a nice engraving bit. I like to get one with a flat bottom. And we're literally going to go in and just get a general tidy up like so all the way around. These are your engraving bits. You'll get a pack of 30 for next to nothing. And they're round heads on, flat heads, all shapes and sizes. The nice pointed one there, that wouldn't be ideal for getting right inside. Those inside there, just give them a general tidy up. Don't confuse them with carving bits. They're a lot chunkier like so, as you can see from there. So they're your carving bits. In 2 seconds, they're your engraving bits. And you can see, totally different beast altogether. Okay, general tidy up first. We'll get all this lettering all nice and sorted. And then we simply just cut it out on a scroll saw. Nice and quick, so we won't mess about too much with that. And then we'll get onto the painting side of things. Let's just give it a general tidy up first. Right, that's enough sanding down and general tidying up for me. You can see from there we've got our letters. And remember, that's about 3mm deep on the cut on that one. And we've rounded it off nicely, and that's definitely straight enough for what I need for these little fun projects. Now we're going to cut it out on a scroll saw. We've got our line there to follow all the way around. And remember, we made our frame just slightly larger at both ends, just to allow us to get our screw holes drilled in with a couple of screws just to hold it in place. Now you could cut this out with basically a bandsaw, an handsaw. I'm going to use a scroll saw just because I've got it handy and it makes life a little bit quicker for me. For those that's not used a scroll saw before, just quickly tell you about the blades. You get 3 types of blades. There is fancier ones, but basically a pin blade, they have a pin at both sides. They literally just clamp on like so. You want the teeth towards you, smooth on the way down and rough on the way up. That'd be ideal for this one here. It's only a small project. So you could start there, start cutting in, and if you turn your wood, cut down, turn your wood, cut down, and so on. Nice, easy that one. If you're doing a more of a complicated piece, with delicate, you would get pinless blades. There's obviously no pins on that one. They're very fine. Same again, teeth towards you, smooth on the way down, rough on the way up. They come with your more fancier saws that have clamps at either side. They're fantastic for doing really detailed work, even smaller than that hole there, where you probably wouldn't get in with a pin blade because those pins are in the way. For me personally, I like to use the spiral blade. People either love or hate these. They take a little while to get used to, but I won't use anything else but spiral blades. Good thing about these, the teeth spiral the full length of the blade, like so. But still the same, you want it smooth on the way down and rough on the way up. And obviously it doesn't matter which way you put it in because the teeth are all the way out, all the way round. The good thing about these ones, they do cut in any direction. So basically there's no turning of the wood whatsoever. We could just start off there if we wanted to, and just feed that along the saw, in the saw like so. Come down and back up that way. And then back up, and that's it, finished. Perfect for large projects. So spiral blades for me. So we'll put one in our scroll saw, literally cut this out. I'll then do a little bit of sanding on the sides. We'll drill out 2 holes first for our nails, and then we'll get onto the painting side of things. Let's just cut it out quickly. Right, so we cut it out with our Pegasus number 5 spiral blade, and then we give it a quick sanding down with a mouse sander. Just get it nice and smooth. We are going to skim over this again, remember, because we're going to put black paint. I'm going to go for black paint at the back, and I'm going to do silver lettering. It's just what I've grabbed. I've been downtown and got myself a nice tin of Painter's Touch paint. Painter's Touch or acrylic paint for me. But I'm just going to throw this black paint on the back. Doesn't matter about getting it in here. I've got no wood sealants on here. I'm not even bothered if it bleeds in. We don't get a lot of bleeding on this cheap fencing wood, to be honest. But remember, we're going to paint all these letters as well. So it really doesn't matter about the bleeding. So I personally don't waste my time sealing any of that wood with any sprays, any varnish, any wood sealants. And it is just a simple case of getting your black paint like so, and we're just going to pop that in there. Go all the way around. When I first started doing projects, I used to try and tape off the lettering so you could colour the side of the letters the same colour as the main letter. It just takes too much time, and personally myself, it's just not worth the effort. You can just throw this in like this, and then once it's nicely dry, we'll go over it with a sander, and then we'll start doing the lettering. You can use spray paint if you want to. I just always use a brush like so, and just throw it on. Get all those sideboards done. Doesn't matter about any drips, any spillages. Remember, we're going to sand it all down. So I'll do all this, come back when we're going to sand it down, and then we'll pop on our silver, and hopefully we'll be heading towards the finishing line. Right, that's it. This little project is finished. Now you can see from that, the end result, we use our black Painter's Touch for the background, Painter's Silver for the lettering. Then I use some wood dye, dark teak for the framework, and then we sprayed it all just with some nice varnish, yacht varnish, anything that's lying around I use. I've no preference for sealing it with, and giving it a nice finish shine. And you can see from that we're nicely done. It's got a nice little shine to it, and that's it. This little project is finished. If you see those marks on the side there, that's literally from the scroll saw, and I quite like that. You can sand that down. We could have made it all nice and smooth, but I don't want it looking like it's come off some kind of machine. For my little projects, I'm quite happy with that. And once that's up on the wall, you're not going to see that. Remember, just cheap, rough old fencing wood at the end. And we've drilled our holes just there and there for the screws to go into. And I'm happy with that. This was actually left out in the rain. I got caught out. And you can't really see from there, but there's a couple of speckles there, look, that's gone along where the rain's touched the dye or whatever we put on there. And even that doesn't bother me. Don't be overly concerned about your work. These are just fun projects. You can get yourself too stressed out and too chewed on looking into things too deeply. Just all fun projects at the end of the day. And that's it. So it's 3 inches by 12 inches, we'll call it. We routed out all the lines with our CNC bits. And then we used end milling bits for the clear out. And then obviously we covered it with all the bits just mentioned. And that's it. This little project is finished. We'll go and find a home for it somewhere. Thank you very much for watching.